This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
And the pitch is swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Go Hayes hits a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to A's Cast Live, our first show of 2023. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be back on the air. It seems like forever since we were last with you. Can you turn me up, my headphones up a little bit? There you go. How are you, Cody? Happy New Year.
Yeah, same to you. It has been a while. Our last show officially was December 12th, so we're looking at almost a month ago.
So on Instagram lately, and I've been sending a bunch to you, they're taking old cuts from old shows, and they're putting them out there with descriptions at the top, and some of them are really funny. They're taking stuff from Seinfeld. I've seen some stuff from, there's old wrestling, Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's like, when can you stop saying Happy New Year? When is that? And Larry David is funny about it. He wants it early. He's
that's a Curb episode, I'm pretty sure.
It has to be, because so I've gotten that on Instagram. When can you? For us, it's Happy New Baseball Year, really. 2023 to be back on air. It's going to be a huge year. We're going to have a lot of announcements, a lot of things. This is going to be our first show and only show this week from the Bay Area. Because after today, we're heading down to the Valley of the Sun, and we will be going to, for the first time ever, we're going to go live from Arizona for fantasy camp. So if you've ever wondered, what is it like for fantasy camp? What is it like to dress in the green and gold? What is it like to play on a big league field? To go through the training room, to have the trainers? What is it like to be a big leaguer? And you're going to get that experience going down to fantasy camp. I know you've heard about it. We've run spots about it for years on here. I remember, and I can't remember, I can't recall who it was that was running it. I remember I met with them. I ran commercials for them. But the A's, we've now taken it over. So it's fantasy camp. You get to be a big leaguer. You wear a big league uniform. You play on the big league fields. You got the training room. You got the whole thing going. You got the trainers. And we're going to take you down there to see it firsthand. We used to play against the Seattle Mariners, their fantasy camp. I don't know if that's still the case. We'll find out when we go down there. That's why you're going to have to watch. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to go down to fantasy camp, you are going to know. So we'll be doing that. I actually have to host an event tomorrow night. The Santa Clara County, the big baseball every year. Well, it used to be every year, 2019, where we honor all kinds of people in baseball. It's a big event. Mitch Haniger, now giant kid from the South Bay. Mitch Haniger is going to be there.
Or did he go to Mitty? Or is it St. Francis?
I think Mitty.
Let me just make sure. Mitch Haniger High School, because I know he's a South Bay kid, said he went to Archbishop Mitty. Yeah. So San Jose.
Yeah, he is going to be there. Let me give it to you. Is that now that I feel
is this the same one where Mark Canna a few years ago came after, or his wife wanted to, something happened with Canna and either his first or second child. I remember hearing the story about this one. But
it's the 37th.
Okay.
I'm like literally like one of the most low grade MCs this event has ever had. I mean, you've had everybody from like Ted Robinson, John Miller, Gary Radnich. I mean, you've had some huge personalities there's been some unbelievable. I don't know everybody who's hosted it, but yeah, at this point they're down to me. This will be my second time doing it. I'm the master of ceremonies. It's the 37th Hot Stove Banquet. Ron Wotus is from the Giants is going to be, he's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. Let's see, Jock Peterson, Mitch Haniger. So you got some big names are going to be there. Mark Canna was last time. So I'll do that tomorrow night down here in the South Bay. And then on Wednesday, flying out of Oakland, we are heading to fantasy camp. Pretty big deal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, then we're going to be in Arizona again next year or next month for spring training. A lot of Arizona trips coming up. A lot of trips south and east for us the last few months. San Diego, Arizona. I think I don't know if there's anything in March. And then the season starts at the end of March.
Yeah, we're back in. So this is the first show, which means we'll be back to every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, leading you up to spring training. Then we're back in business, and then the season is going to start. There's a lot of stuff. Obviously, the Carlos Correa stuff continues to just be bizarre. It literally is like right before we got on, there was a rumor put out by CBS Sports about how now the Mets and Correa are haggling over the contract, which I said to the commander here, okay, if you're haggling over years and money, this was about an injury. This was about something in the physical that you didn't like. How did this get to be about years and money? So if it's about years and money, then it's not about the physical anymore. I mean, we've never seen a player have two different $300 million contracts taken away from him. It's literally insane what's been going on. So that is big news going on in baseball right now. It's been a while. Soto traded over the weekend, the left-hander, now going to the Phillies from the Tigers. That adds another big left-hander in the Phillies bullpen as the arms race in the NL East continues to heat up. I mean, when you look at the big three of Atlanta, New York, and Philly, man, news out of Miami that we'll get to in a little bit. Really kind of big news is Kim Ng. Man, I don't know why. I understand why she took the job. I now kind of wonder why she took the job. If you want to be the first female executive in Major League Baseball that's the GM, you want to do stuff where you have a chance to win and really, I mean, they're now saying their top four pitchers are on the market. Jesus Luzardo is back on the market again, folks. Yeah, other than Sandy.
Besides our guy, Sandy. So
Sandy's not on the market, the reigning National League MVP. The other four guys.
Cy Young.
What did I say?
MVP.
Cy Young Warren. The other four pitchers, they're now on the market.
Who is that? Luzardo, Lopez. Why am I drawing a blank on their rotation? They actually have a pretty good rotation.
It is very good. So it's Pablo Lopez, Jesus Luzardo, Trevor Rogers, and Edward Cabrera.
Rogers had a really bad year last year, but a really good rookie year the year prior.
Well, in 2021, he had a 2.55 FIP, which you look at FIP like ERA, which was fantastic. Luzardo is a gamble, right? Luzardo, what did he finish with?
He actually wasn't bad last year, but he was injured.
3.32 ERA, but he doesn't, Lopez is the guy that gave you 180 innings.
He's the guy that the Dodgers were really interested in. He'd be the guy I'd go after number one. The other guys are younger, but Lopez ain't old either.
Well, he's not hitting free agency for 2 years, and he just gave you 180 innings.
And how old is he? Pablo Lopez is 26. He'll be 27 in March.
Yeah, and he's not a free agent. I mean, he sounds like an Oakland A already. We're not going to get him, but so there's that news out there. Also, big news is still Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer, they have till, I believe it's today to trade him.
Thursday.
It's Thursday?
It was 7 days, I think. Since it was something like that. So they have till Thursday to either trade him or someone can just claim him, for nothing.
And it really reminds me of a situation that we have had before in sports where there were people who, I was listening today to MLB radio on Sirius XM, and they're too many times people in our business are foolish. They don't understand business. They overreact. It's kind of what we do in the media. We overreact. And we don't take time to really sit back, digest it, and give educated opinions. Because you listen to some people, Trevor Bauer will never pitch again. No one will ever sign him. That's not the case. And I'll give you an opportunity. I said this before the show. We've seen something similar to this, where people looked at a player who had issues. This guy was actually prosecuted, served time.
I know who it is.
Now you know who it is. And people said, he'll never play again. No one will ever sign him. Who is that?
Is it a left-handed quarterback from Virginia Tech? That'd be the great Michael Vick.
In my sports talk days, I had to deal with the Michael Vick situation. Obviously, working around and for the Raiders, dealing with NFL. There was the idea that Michael Vick and his issues, he'll never play again. Now, if you went back to all the talking heads on radio, television, everybody giving opinion, if we went back and looked at all those hot takes, and where are we now? Michael Vick's on television.
Yeah.
Michael Vick not only continued his career in the NFL, he's now on television. He was prosecuted, he served his time, and he's now on TV. But back then, everybody said, no chance Michael Vick ever plays again. He'll never play. No one will ever sign him. The heartache, the blah, 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 blah. Michael Vick played again, and Michael Vick now is on television.
He was really good the year he came out back. That first year, that he was actually the starter in Philly, really good. Age 30, he was 8-3 as a starter.
Well, it's always this. It's like, listen, there's going to be the initial press conference. I also said this about Colin Kaepernick when people said, "Oh, you can't sign Kaepernick." Why can't you? You can sign anybody. Colin Kaepernick comes in, does the press conference. Everybody brings their cameras in. Everybody follows it. It's a huge ordeal, and then everybody goes away. And he would have been a backup quarterback, and everybody. It's like, have you not seen this rodeo? Have you not been in this rodeo before? Things happen, and people forget. It's human nature. We move on. People get second chances. And what makes it really tough on the Trevor Bauer situation is he hasn't been prosecuted. He hasn't been charged. He hasn't been charged. The law, they have not arrested him. They have not charged him. So at some point, he'll play again. And there'll be an uprising, and people the allegations are horrific. As a husband and a father of two girls, it's horrific. But he has not been charged. I mean, you have the right to work in this country. So it'll be interesting. There will be, at first it's like, no one's going to sign this guy. And now you're already hearing the rumblings that people are like, well, he's going to pitch again.
Yeah, and a team that wants to take a flyer on him if he's not traded from the Dodgers, they only have to pay him $720,000.
You get Trevor Bauer at the minimum?
You're telling me a team like the Astros, if you're looking for a contending team, the Astros maybe, or a team like Kansas City, Cincinnati, where he used to pitch, you're telling me one of those teams wouldn't bring him back to pitch there?
Cleveland,
yeah, maybe, because of the money. He only $720,000. You were talking about second chances. I don't mean to go up. The GM of the Braves was suspended for lifetime suspension. Hey, guess what? He's back. That came back today. John Coppola. I can't never can get his last name right. He's 44 now. He was suspended 5 years ago when he was after he resigned a month after the Braves GM Alex Anthopoulos took over, and he's back in baseball now.
Yeah.
So
and probably, I wonder how many people that are going to watch this now and watch it later and listen to it now or listen to it later, because we know people consume us in a lot of different ways. You probably don't even remember it. This guy was doing shady international signings. He was so shady, they banned him for life. Young guy, hotshot executive, banned for life in baseball. Everybody forgot. Now he's reinstated.
Yeah. I'm running the banner down there for people who don't know the story. It's on the banner on our YouTube and Twitter stream.
He's getting a second chance. So it's that will be interesting. But I think the Bauer thing reminds me a lot of Michael Vick.
That's a very good comp, I would say, for sure.
But Michael Vick actually served time. He was charged, served time.
Yeah, he was out of football for 2 years.
I mean, I remember the people coming from the Southeast who were like, whoa, fighting dogs and chickens and roosters is something we've done down here forever. People were like, and, other parts of the country are like, this is the worst thing we've ever heard. You're fighting dogs. Like, oh, my God. And people down in our neck of the woods, you remember that part?
Yeah.
There are people defending this. And you're like, wait a minute. You can't do that. It's illegal. So, yeah, it gets murky. But Michael Vick, once again, played football and then now is on television.
Yeah.
Fox. He's now on Fox. Fox is paying him. So before we start saying no one's ever going to play again, just look at history, right? Look at A-Rod. A-Rod was the biggest pariah in the game, not going to the Hall of Fame, and now he's on Fox also.
Oh, and he did Sunday Night Baseball.
Sunday Night Baseball.
He still does do Sunday Night Baseball.
He's working for Disney, too, because that's Disney. ESPN's Disney. A-Rod's working for that. So, I mean, Pete Rose got brought back on TV.
Yeah, he was on Fox for a while. Yeah.
What we want to start with, and Sarris is going to join us coming up here, 1:30, our national baseball columnist?
Yeah, and then Trevor May, new A's reliever at 2:00.
Interesting to talk to Trevor May. Welcome to the green and gold. He could be your closer. Now, if you don't win a lot of games, you really don't need a closer.
Fair point.
I think the A's, the more that I've thought about it, there's certain things that excite me. And there's certain players that I'm looking at from a standpoint of, you know what? There's going to be something to watch. Because I know, I've been following what a lot of people have been saying, and still so much is about the ballpark. But when you actually look at the team, there is some talent here that you say, okay, I'm interested. Now, two guys right out of the gate that, to me, to watch, and one of the guys, we talked to his agent down in San Diego at the winter meetings. Funny how this year's winter meetings, people came and found us. We didn't have to go find them. They came and found us now. Seth Brown's agent. Seth Brown's agent sought us out, came up to me, introduced himself.
Oh, now I remember. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, and because I've done work with Seth a few times. We've had him on the show, obviously.
Very good personality. Very good talker.
He is a vital piece because he is not only a piece for now, but he is also a piece for where he could be moved to help the A's long term. Seth Brown has put himself in a very good position, right? He's essentially your de facto leader in the clubhouse. The A's value leadership. You got to have some, like what you saw Stephen Vogt last year. You got to have some guys that are veteran guys in the clubhouse. And you start to think, okay, who is Seth Brown? He's going to get help by no shifting.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got power. He can run a little bit. He's proven he can play first. He's proven he can play right. He's not gonna hurt you. And he hits bombs.
25 last year.
And in a pinch, he can play center field. So right there, I look at Seth Brown as who he is going to be, spring training, veteran guy, and what a piece that he can be going forward. Because what did I just tell you? He's a guy that's versatile and has power. Everybody's looking for that. As we get into a season and injuries happen, what's everybody looking for? Versatility and power. Can I play this guy in multiple spots, and can he hit the ball out of the ballpark? And, oh, yeah, that thing that you don't like, batting average, goes up because there's not as much shifting on left-handers. I think he'll be pivotal. Number two, who I think will be very pivotal, He's a friend of the program. One of our favorites.
Cole
Irvin. Cole Irvin is about to do his 3rd year of being a starter in Major League Baseball. He's at that point in his career when guys truly lights on, college guy, what do we do with him? Reliever, a little bit of starting. Now he's a full-fledged Major League starter, and he's learned how to do it. He's learned how to take the ball every 5 days and give you quality. And did I mention he's left-handed? Cole Irvin is going to go out, give you innings. He's going to do it for the A's. And once again, as guys start to get hurt during the season and people come calling because they need innings and they need a quality arm, and he's left-handed, let me tell you something. Cole Irvin, he was around 180 innings?
He had 181.
181 innings. That's a lot in our game today. That's nothing to shake a stick at. You throw 180 to 200 innings, you are valuable. So he'll be the leader of the staff in spring training. Seth Brown will be the leader of the position players. Spring training, you go into the season. Hopefully you play well. But reality is, where they are, people will come calling for them and be willing to give stuff. If Cole Irvin, who likes to work fast, who likes to go deep in games, we got the new pitch clock, not going to affect him. Seth Brown's hitting the ball out of the ballpark, playing multiple positions. They are 2 players teams will covet. When we get into July, teams are going to go, I need help. Let's call the A's.
Both guys aren't free agents until after 2027.
And they're both cheap.
No, they're both. I know they're up there. Seth Brown's 30 and Cole Irvin's 28. But Cole last year, or 2022, 30 starts. He missed 2 starts. 2021, he had 32 starts in 32 games. So he's been very reliable for the A's, and we've seen that. He works very fast. I think we asked him in spring training, can you get us a game in under 2 hours? Now, I know he hasn't gone the complete game yet, but he said he can do it. So I'm holding him to it this year because I want to see him do it under 2 hours. Be Mark Burley for us.
Well, and age doesn't matter. Like, age is not really a fact. I mean, we're signing Verlander. You're signing DeGrom. You need outs. You need guys that can get outs and guys that you can trust. Kind of the game is, it's interesting how, the game always changes. What people are interested in always changes. One of the things, I don't know if we'll get to it today, we may get to it with Eno, is, everybody wants to sign people to extensions. I rather sign a guy to an early extension, even though it could be bad, just to cover me from having to sign a really long, bad extension, right? These $300 million extensions are awful. None of these players will ever live up to these contracts. Now you're saying, well, in the first few years, if we win, the back end we won't care about. Well, you say that now. That's not how the Angels saw it with Pujols.
Yeah.
Who was saying that at the end of the Pujols deal? Who cares? No. These 11-year deals for X amount of they're disasters. They're going to be disasters. And baseball is going to have to do something about that. We'll do another show. I don't want to get into there's a lot to get into when it comes to the financial part of baseball. You just see the disparity in owners versus owners. Forget owners and players. Owners versus owners. This thing's brewing. Right now, it's like, when the volcano's just a little steam. It's just a little steam. Oh, people are going up to the volcano in Hawaii. There's a little steam. Yeah. Well, down below, it's bubbling.
It's festering, as they would say.
It's festering. And this is going to be year 4 of a 5-year deal. So after this year, only 3 years left. And now it's really bubbling. And then after that year, when we have 2 years left, there's some lava starting to seep out. And you'll know what I'm talking about. I told everybody, I think I'm right on this. I said this last CBA is duct tape. And you guys all think the problem is owners and players. That's not the problem. The problem is owners versus owners. There are more owners now that are like, I am not into this spending. This is crazy. Then there are, hey, let's give a guy who's never hit 30 home runs $300 million. Let's give a guy who's barely been an all-star, a guy who's never won an MVP, who's never won anything significant. Let's give him 11 years free because they're just trying to circumvent the luxury tax. It's crazy. And that's supposed to be forbidden in the CBA. And that's something maybe we can ask Eno about, but it's really murky. It's not really spelled out. That's why I'm saying they just wanted to get a deal done, that CBA. And I told you, this is just duct tape. They spread some money to the players. Yeah, they bumped up the lower players. Yeah, they put this money in these side accounts. So if a guy like Julio Rodriguez won Rookie of the Year, they'll give him some money. That's all chump change. Behind the scenes, the owners are signing big money deals with tech companies like Apple and Peacock and these platforms.
What was the Disney deal they did for like how many millions of dollars?
Well, that was done a while ago. That was like every team got 70 million. Now, like the back end of that deal, every team got 30 million. I mean, these owners had to sprinkle a little money on the players. So even guys who you think are smart, like Ken Rosenthal. Well, got to remember, writers are writers. They're not business people. They normally don't own businesses. They think they know the business of baseball, but it's like, I don't. You want to break before Eno?
Yeah.
I'm just getting rolling.
We can go over the guys. We had 3 guys each, and then 3 guys were, 3 X factors, or essentially we're looking at. It's pretty good when we put together a nice comprehensive list.
Yeah, we want to give you, going in this first show, we want to give you guys an idea of, okay, heading to spring training. This gives you kind of like 2 months to get your really just about a little over a month. Wrap your heads around it, not go chalk, not give you the standard. Like, who are you interested in? I'll give you one. Can I give you one quick one?
Yeah.
I kind of want to save it.
Yeah, save it because we can.
I believe the A's have an elite athlete who hasn't had the full time yet to figure it out. But he's about to, or he's going to get an opportunity. And if he figures it out, he is an elite athlete. Elite. Who am I? Well, you're going to have to find out. Eno Sarris, our national baseball columnist, will join us next. It's great to be back. Great to have you here on A's Cast Live.
The 2022 MLB winter meetings from San Diego are now in the past, and A's Cast Live was all over it.
Well, once again, here from the winter meetings in San Diego.
From the signing of Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is going back to the Bronx. He's agreed to a 9-year deal worth $360 million.
And Trey Turner.
Trey Turner gets 11 years, $300 million. 11 years.
To the biggest names in the sport.
Chris Russo, the Mad Dog, the great Bob Melvin. Great Samfold right here on A's Cast Live. Torey Lovell, the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, former Oakland Athletic, former A's bench coach. Terry Francona is with us here on A's Cast Live. Billy Owens, assistant general manager for the Oakland Athletics. The great Sarah Langs is with us. David Forrest, the general manager of your Oakland Athletics.
A's Cast Live had you covered at the winter meetings.
That's going to do it live from the winter meetings. I hope everybody enjoyed the coverage. We had a great time. Hopefully you had a great time watching.
If you missed any of the interviews from the 3 days, go to athletics.com/A'sCast to listen or youtube.com/athletics to watch today.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine with your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Barrie locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
The 2022 American League Manager of the Year, Terry Francona, joined A's Cast live from the winter meetings and reflected on his time as the bench coach in Oakland.
It was 1 year, but the memories and the relationships seem like far more.
I know that year meant a lot to you in your career.
It did. It really did. Billy told me when I came there, he said, if we do well, you're probably going to manage again. And I remember him saying that, thinking, that's interesting. And he was right.
Yeah.
But Maka gave me a ton of responsibility being the bench coach, and we had a fun team, with Hudson and Zito and Mulder and Shavy and the guys and Miggy. It was a fun team, but it was just it was a real good learning year for me.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Wow, you just cut off the reigning American League Manager of the Year.
Well, our guest is here, and we don't
what? Because Enos shows up, all of a sudden you're going to big league Terry Francona?
I had to, but let's the first one of the year. Let's get it done right.
Wow.
The Sarris Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
Forget the American League Manager of the Year. We will kick him to the side. As we get to our national baseball columnist, the great Sarris. We've been saying Happy New Year, just not because it's 2023. It's really, this is our first show. It's the start of, for us, baseball season. So it's like Happy New Baseball Season to you.
That's right. What are we at? Like 45 days till pitchers and catchers report? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, my wife, I swear to God, we have had, I got to host this, I got to MC this event tomorrow night, the hot stove banquet that goes on usually every year with all the people in Major League Baseball, college baseball, minor, whatever. And I'm going to talk about one of my trying to be funny. I'm going to be like, with the lockout, COVID, and just this offseason seems so long, my wife thinks I'm a contractor. She thinks I'm a landscaper. She thinks I'm an electrician. I am tired of being at home and honeydews. I'm ready to get back to going, nope, can't do that. We got the Royals in town. I can't wait to start working again.
Yeah, the winter meetings really killed me too, because I've been really looking forward to them. I really enjoy the winter meetings. I enjoy seeing everybody. And I got there, and the first day I got sick. And I lost my voice after the first night, and I'm a responsible adult now. So instead of saying YOLO and drinking my way through the sickness that was approaching, I drank tea and went to bed early and didn't quite get the full winter meetings experience. But
Well,
I still managed to see a lot of people and get a little bit of lay of the land, press some flesh, and I did get some value out of it.
I can back you 100% because you walked by us on your way out. You might not remember because you looked awful. You came walking by us and you just kind of did a head nod. It's midday, sunny out in San Diego. You have sunglasses on inside. You look like you'd been on like a 3-day bender.
And that was me being responsible.
and now we know it wasn't a bender. You were actually sick. Yeah, you looked like you didn't even stop to say hi. You just walked.
I was late for radio that day. I had radio right before I was going to fly out, and I scootered. I was late. I scootered. I ran. I was sweating. I was still, and they were coming up on the end of their broadcast schedule, so like I was their last guest, and I was trying to run up and do it. And then when I left, I forgot my laptop and got all the way to the airport to come back. So I either saw you coming back to get the laptop or rushing out to make their last window.
All right. We have never seen in the history of sports. I mean, it's kind of a big deal, but right now everybody's worried about the national championship game. Everybody's worried about the NFL. We have never seen ever in American sports history a guy receive not one, but two $300 million contracts
in the same offseason.
That's guaranteed, and he doesn't sign the contract with either. And everybody's trying to use, what's so funny is that here you got the San Francisco Giants. They're signing all these guys that were hurt last year. 2 of them didn't even play, but yet Carlos Correa can't sign. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But here you have a record 2 contracts not signed. We still don't know where Correa is going to go. Rumors are the Mets and Correa are haggling over something. Well, if you're haggling over years and money, you're not haggling over an injury anymore. I mean, let us know what's going on, because this is something we've never seen.
Well, I think actually it is funny to laugh about, the Giants signing Michael Conforto, who's been out of baseball, for over a year. Bringing in guys who have a lot of injury risk themselves, but they're all on 2-year deals. So I think, what really happened was when you start thinking about 10 years, you're a little bit more concerned with the medicals, and you're a little bit more concerned with making sure covering your own butt in case that plate in the ankle becomes a big deal over time. I did do some really just like familial over the break, asking people in my family. There's a couple plates in ankles in my family about how what their prognosis was.
Are you saying you have firsthand knowledge to plates and fractures?
I did my best to do some sleuthing on the subject, but that's what they're doing, is looking at outcomes on these sort of things. We know what the surgery, we know what the situation was, we know what the surgery is, we know what concerns them. And I guess the doctors, if there is a difference of opinion, it's some doctors will say, oh, once you get the plate in there, he's fine. Others will say, oh, that plate might have to come out. This or that, the other. Obviously the Giants were out after, they discovered this. I think that what the haggling is in New York is actually about language. It is actually about the injury still. How many years are guaranteed? How many years have to vest? How many years are there going to be any playing time incentives and situations in there? And what the agent is trying to do is keep that number where it was overall. Now, he might make some concessions about vesting and this and that, but he wants to be able to say it's a $300 million contract still. So that's, I think, and there's even a bit where the Mets were supposedly going back to baseball to discuss some of the languages allowed. So they are trying to come up with some sort of incentive structure, some sort of contract structure that covers the Mets for the risk that this is a long-term injury.
I heard the dumbest thing today. I heard someone actually say, because my question has been, well, the Astros passed him all these physicals. Then the Twins passed him. And then I heard someone say today, well, the Twins probably didn't do as an extensive because it wasn't, as big of money. And I'm like, $100 million is a lot of money to the Minnesota Twins. Whether he was going to opt out or not, I can't wait to ask A's doctors, do you do your physical based on how long the contract, or do you actually do because I'm having a hard time believe that some teams go, not a big deal, physical. And I think physicals are physicals.
Yeah, I would only say that the only thing I can come up with is this. Let's say that in any given 1 year he has a 2% chance of something bad happening, or a 5% chance of anything bad happening based on this ankle. 3 years, no big deal. But if you sign a 10-year deal, you'll compound all those 5%, and you're kind of like, whoa, over the course of 10 years, like what if I ask the doctor, over the course of 10 years, is this likely to be an issue, or the course of 3 years?
That's strange. He literally just disappeared on his own.
Well, we're off the screen up in front of us. Are we on?
Yeah, we're still on. He's back now.
You there?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
All right, go ahead. You were talking about the progression over the years.
Yeah, you might ask the doctor, is this a problem over the next 3 years? And they say no. And then you ask them about the same issue and say, is this a problem over the next 10 years? They might say yes. So that's all I'm saying, is that could be the gray area in between, because it's obviously something that doctors see differently. That's the first thing the Giants said. This is the difference of opinion.
Well, if we get like that, it's going to be hard to sign a lot of people, right? Because professional athletes have issues. It's like funny. It's like, well, if it's 3 years, we're good. If it's 10 years, you can almost do it, but whatever. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. I compared earlier the situation of Trevor Bauer to Michael Vick. If you remember when Michael Vick was prosecuted, did his time, he was coming out. There are people in the football world that said he'll never play again. There's no way any team can take the risk. There's no way they can take the PR hit. I heard that, blah, 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 blah. Michael Vick not only came back and play, he's on television on Fox today talking football professionally. So
there's another piece of information that just came out recently. John Coppolella, who had a lifetime ban from baseball for the things that he did in Atlanta. Lifetime ban from baseball for the things that he did in Atlanta, was signing like 12-year-old. I don't know if it was that young, but he was signing really young players. He was doing all sorts of backroom deals. He wasn't reporting the actual numbers he was giving the kids and all this stuff. Lifetime deal, reinstated. I think it's about 5 years he did. I think, if you are in trouble ever, you put your head down for a while, you show some contrition, and you ride out the storm. I think that if you have like PR people that work in this, I think that's what they tell you. They say, like, don't try not to make as many waves as possible in the short term. Say you're sorry, and then just wait it out, and we'll throw some test balloons up, and you'll be back in no time. Think about this. Think about movies. How many movies are made? Every movie is now a remake of something. I feel like, So if you've been successful at some point, somebody will bring you back. So as long as you've done your time. The one thing I think is different about Bauer is he's not really doing the contrition part. He's not really saying he's sorry. So I think it makes it a little bit harder for a team that's going to sign him and say, he said he's sorry. He's done the time. He's been, he's done his what he needs to do, and he's come out the other end, and we're going to give him a chance. He's not really doing the say he's sorry part. He's went up against baseball to challenge it. Nobody's ever challenged a domestic violence suspension. He's not really publicly saying he's sorry. So it's a little bit of a different situation, I think. Yeah. Like Michael Vick said he was sorry.
Well, Michael Vick got charged.
Yeah.
This is the murky. I'm not a lawyer, but I can assume that knowing lawyers and having been through some legal stuff in my past, if you haven't been charged, you think your lawyers are telling you to go out to say sorry?
Yeah, that's a good point, I guess.
Right? See, this is the stuff people don't think about, right?
Right.
This is my problem with people. I talk about this all the time. Too many people in sports don't get business and get this. If you're a lawyer and you fought for this guy and the police are not going to charge you, We
Just
know this.
decided, yeah.
He's not getting charged. He's not doing time. He doesn't.
He also has like pending civil trials, so he can't comment on it because there's money on the line for the civil trials.
Yeah,
If
so
he says he's sorry, they could go into the civil trial and say,
yes,
he's admitting guilt.
To get back into the game. So that's why, I mean, people have to think about that. Do you think he pitches again?
I share your cynicism with regards to he's talented, and some team will decide that the risk is enough and the talent is enough, and that they get a player they'll get a player on the budget. They won't have to pay as much as they would have if he was if he didn't have all this baggage. So I think he will, but I don't know if it'll be this year. I mean, it's a lot to sort of sell a team right now to be like, hey, I want you to have what, 15 million extra bucks, 20 million extra bucks lying around, and B, I want you to have a PR plan for how we announce this to everybody, and I want to do it in the next 2 weeks.
All righty, as we head since this is our first show, what's exciting you right now? There's a lot to talk about leading up. We've got rules changes. We've got a lot of these big signings. What excites you going in right now, January 2023?
I like that there's a little bit of the super team energy where like the Phillies are really trying to put together a squad. They just got Gregory Soto from the Tigers, and so now they've got a bullpen that's 4 or 5 deep. They're like, we were so close. We're going to try and build a super team and get better. But I also want to see what the teams that are not super teams are going to do, and I want to see if these little small signings are going to have a big impact. I mean, I know it's just the Pirates, but like the Carlos Santana signing and, these little lefty sluggers that against the shift, like, is anybody going to innovate and be winners? Like, think about how the Guardians were good last year, how they did it with just a bunch of singles hitters and command pitchers. It's like, I would love to see teams do something new and win somewhere new. So it's an intersection of these new rule changes and which teams are going to be aggressive around the rule changes and try to win in a new way based on, what they can pick up on the market and what they can pick up cheap.
There are so many great athletes in our game, and the running game is a way to showcase that. Mm-hmm. We can see guys run down balls on defense or make great plays and show great range and athleticism in the infield. But one of the things that was always a lot of fun to watch was to watch a guy rip the ball into the gap and let him go. Or
triples are the best.
Or a guy gets on first base, and we always revert back to Ricky Henderson, but there was plenty of these guys. I was watching a documentary on MLB Network the other day about the old Cardinals where Tommy Herr had 114 RBIs and like 7 home runs. I mean, all they did was run at Old Busch Stadium on the turf. They were all just running. I'm interested to see, that's athleticism, to see, can we get that athleticism and movement in our game going again? The rules are going to be set up for it. Will we see it?
Yeah, and I also would love, and I don't think we saw a ton of this. I mentioned the Pirates. They signed 2 big lefty sluggers. That's with the shift. But I didn't see a lot of people go hard in on speed. I saw, Tim LaCastro signed, and there's some like speedy guys who got deals again. I think Billy Hamilton signed again. But there wasn't any team that sort of traded for speed or really seemed to put speed on the table as a way to win. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to see. I want to see if any of these new types of rules create new ways for teams to win. Because I would love to see a go-go team. And maybe the Guardians could be it. They're already kind of the slappy singles team. There's some decent speed on that team. What if they just turn the green light on for everybody? And they had, 3 or 4 guys with 30, 40, 50 steals along with all those singles. Might be the way to turn a singles hitting team into kind of pseudo power, right? If you make those singles into doubles, get that guy on second base, So that's what I love is the baseball gets boring when there's one way to win. And we were approaching that, I think, with certain things like, barrel rate, the plate discipline. It was like, okay, we know how to predict power. We know that walks matter. We know. And so we started to get really kind of, strikeouts don't matter as much. So all we want are these guys going to hit big bombs and get on and get walks. Walk, homer. That's all we want. We don't even care that much about defense. We can just put a guy right where the ball's going to apply with the shift. We can science this out and just put a guy right where he needs to be to play good defense. And I think this will push us to have more athleticism in the game. Also, some of the CBA rules might help us get younger guys in the game quicker, because we're talking about this bonus pool that there is, that there's these players if they make more money, it's paid by the general fund, So there are these ways that they're trying to incentivize getting the young guys into the game faster. And that's another way to incentive to get speed in the game, get the younger guys in there. Start playing your top prospects as soon as they can play in the big leagues.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping these rule changes, like you never know which ones are going to work, and like which ones are going to take, and which ones the analytics guys are going to care about, and which ones they're going to ignore, but like all these rule changes give us an opportunity to give a new team that comes up and we can say, oh my God, the Royals, it's so cool. They're like doing old school baseball. They can pick it at every position. They run like the wind, So I'd like to see a new team sort of step into that void.
Yeah, this Ruiz kid that the A's traded for that came over from Milwaukee, but he was in the Padres organization, with the Padres being at one point the number one organization. I did some research with the Padres. They loved him. They think he is going to be super dynamic. And these new rules, he had 88 stolen bases. So we'll see. All right, I think
the A's actually could have a chance to sort of step into that, because their outfield is going to be super fast. However they put it together, it's going to be a pretty fast outfield. They're going to be able to pick it at all these positions. I think defensively, they've done a good job of targeting guys who can play really good defense. So everywhere I look, I see really good defense. I see really fast players. And on the pitching side, I see a lot of command and lots of pitches. All the guys they got, Sears, all those guys have multiple pitches. Waltercheck didn't necessarily have command, but like in terms of the guys they got, Cole Irvins, Paul Blackburns, they're like, we have 5 pitches and command, and we're going to pitch old school. We're not going to try and strike you out. There's no Spencer Strider, on the A's staff. It's all about, just trying to mix it up and pitch the spots. So there's some interesting things going on in Oakland for sure.
Let's end on this. I want one offensive metric, and I want one metric for pitchers. When you say I got to evaluate an offensive player or I have to evaluate a pitcher, what is the one analytic that you go to? I look at this.
I look at barrel rate for hitters. Barrel rate is basically how often do they hit the ball powerfully in the angles that create homers and create doubles and singles and, create offense. And it becomes meaningful super quickly, and it's easy to understand. It's like barrel rate, like how often you barrel the ball, and it's super powerful predictively. It tells you more about power than actual power. Like you can have slugging percentage. I have barrel rate. I know more about the guy's future slugging percentage than you do. So it's a super powerful stat for pitchers. I have my stat Stuff Plus. I love it. It just gives you an idea of how good the shapes are, because there are pitchers that don't throw 99 who have great stuff. And so stuff is a better way to kind of say how good is the action on his pitches as well as the velo. And so that's why we have Paul Sewald and Felix Bautista up there at the top at Stuff Plus. One is funky and one throws real hard. Sewald, so funky.
Funky has worked for over 100 years, and it'll work the next 100 years, and it works in every sport. I've written both of them down. So as we go into 2023, and Cody said, I'm going to go, what's his barrel rate? All right, buddy. Hey, play the sponsor for him.
The Sarris Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
We need to get ready for a show at Fieldwork.
That's right. Let's prep. And also I'll get Stuff Plus on a sortable leaderboard somewhere, so you can find it easily.
Beautiful. All right, buddy. We will talk to you next week, and let's start talking, because the season has officially started.
Right. The calendar starts filling up. You gotta get a date.
The greatness of Sarris right here on A's Cast Live coming up next. New Oakland Athletic Trevor May will join us right here on A's Cast Live.
Oakland Athletics spring training is right around the corner, and you can be part of the excitement. Get your tickets now and plan ahead for a fun-filled trip to Mesa, Arizona this spring. Pack the sunscreen, bring your friends, pick up some ballpark classics, and watch your green and gold get ready for the regular season. Get your tickets today to see the Athletics take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Dodgers, and more. Tickets are on sale now at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Hall of Famer and former A's closer Raleigh Fingers was on A's Cast Live and discussed how great the A's treat their alumni.
What does it mean to you and to your group of guys that the A's want to continue to celebrate you guys and your greatness?
Oh, I love Dave Fisher. They're great baseball fans, and they realize the history of the A's. And they love having us older generation guys coming back. And we get together just about every year, and we induct 2 or 3 guys from the past into the Oakland A's Hall of Fame, and they're all for it. It's great that they appreciate the alumni, the guys that played back 30, 40 years ago and knew how great we were back then. So they're not only owners and presidents, but they're fans. And so they enjoy seeing us and inviting us back every year. I think it's great.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
The 2022 MLB winter meetings from San Diego are now in the past, and A's Cast Live was all over it.
Well, once again, here from the winter meetings in San Diego.
From the signing of Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is going back to the Bronx. He's agreed to a 9-year deal worth $360 million.
And Trey Turner.
Trey Turner gets 11 years, $300 million. 11 years.
To the biggest names in the sport.
Chris Russo, the Mad Dog, the great Bob Melvin. Great Samfold right here on A's Cast Live. Torey Lovell, the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, former Oakland Athletic, former A's bench coach. Terry Francona is with us here on A's Cast Live. Billy Owens, assistant general manager for the Oakland Athletics. The great Sarah Langs is with us. David Forrest, the general manager of your Oakland Athletics.
A's Cast Live had you covered at the winter meetings.
That's going to do it live from the winter meetings. I hope everybody enjoyed the coverage. We had a great time. Hopefully you had a great time watching.
If you missed any of the interviews from the 3 days, go to athletics.com/A'sCast to listen or youtube.com/athletics to watch today.
Hey, A's fans, you know that running your own business is a slugfest every day. That's why businesses have been counting on Mechanics Bank since 1905. From operating lines of credit to equipment and real estate loans, they can help build your lineup to meet today's challenges and prepare for tomorrow's opportunities. Stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com today. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay Bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. All loans subject to program eligibility and credit approval.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
A's general manager David Force joined A's Cast Live from the Manchester Grand Hyatt and discussed A.J. Puck's role heading into spring training.
Yeah, no, he took a big leap from where he was 12 months ago. And I said the other day, he needed to go out and have a healthy season, and he did. And he worked hard to stay healthy. worked hard to be available, just about every night out there. And then when it was all said and done, he came to Cots and to Emo and said, I'd like to have the chance to start again. So we're going to give him that shot. And yeah, he will be one of a number of things that we're looking to evaluate in the spring.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Do you know where the humorous bone is?
It's not the funny bone, is it? So no. So I'm going to go.
Well, the funny bone is not really.
Yeah.
It's not really a thing.
Leg?
No, it's in your arm. It's the main bone right here in your arm.
Oh, okay. Is that what made you look up the humerus bone?
That was what bugged Trevor last year.
Oh, well, we got him.
Do we have him? His first
I'm here
on A's Cast Live. Well, welcome to the A's family. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're excited because this is our first official show of 2023 after the baseball winter meetings. We were down in San Diego, and then we took the hiatus. And it's, for us, we're heading down to fantasy camp on Wednesday. We'll be down in Arizona. Then it's off to spring training. So we're getting our year started. For you, what is this point in January like? How do you get the ball rolling with all your program strength, throwing, and everything?
Yeah, right now is about ramping up into bullpens. I usually throw somewhere between 6 and 10 before showing up to spring, depending on if I'm working on something specific. Thank God we have a full length spring training for once, so I'm not as rushed and concerned as usual, or at least not knowing what's happening. So that's nice, knowing some stuff, knowing when things are happening. But ramping up with the bullpens. I've been going pretty heavy with workouts for a couple months now, so I'm feeling pretty good there. And it's just it's starting to lock things in. But at the end of the day, I'm up in the Northwest. We have not a ton of pro players live here in the off season because of the weather. And can't get a lot of ABs in. It's a lot of college guys and stuff. So really sharpening things up. There's only so far you can go until you get to spring training. So I used to worry about being like super sharp showing up day one. And now it's become being there in good shape and feeling good and strong that everything's working correctly and that you're in a good spot to go. And then using spring to sharpen. Sure.
Well, I was making the joke earlier, and I have to MC the big baseball banquet here tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, one of the jokes I'm going to talk about is, between COVID, the lockout, and even this off season, all of a sudden my wife thinks I'm a carpenter. She thinks I'm in construction. She thinks I'm a landscaper. I'm done doing honeydews. I'm done doing stuff around the house. I want to get back to baseball. I'm ready to go. It just seems like we've had so much time off. And if I'm feeling that as a broadcaster, I can't imagine what you feel like as a player.
Yeah. It's the inconsistency mostly for me. I'll be honest. I don't have a short. I'm not short on hobbies, things that I enjoy doing. But that said, I like to be able to switch gears and know that it's time to go and get competitive again. I like to get into that mode and do something that I'm really, really good at, as opposed to just learning new stuff all the time. And it's time. But it is nice knowing, like, having an email, that says, this is the date we want you there.
Yeah.
And this is when we're going to be there, no matter what. please be there. So that's a big deal. Just mentally getting switch gears, and there's a lot of, especially with the lockout. It not only was it waiting, it was also not happy. There's not a lot of happiness happening either. So not only are you annoyed that you're waiting and trying to figure out what's going on, but you're also like, come on, guy, So it's nice to not have that stress. It's really, really nice. It's baseball's supposed to be fun. I'm glad I get to only worry about that this year.
Yeah, it was super stressful because you had the whole 60 game COVID. We were lucky enough to be in the playoffs during that time. And then we were just so consumed about, okay, we still had COVID the next year. And we're still worried about how does it affect the players going from a short season back to a long season, then the lockout. There's been so many disruptions. So, yeah, it kind of feels like the dysfunction is over and we can get back to being normal. And I think for you, as the way you recovered, pitched well at the end of the season, even in the playoffs, you had to have a lot of suitors. There's a lot of names out there of teams that were looking for your services. Why, in the end, Oakland?
Well, I've said it a couple times. There is an intangible kind of affinity that I have had my whole life. I've always kind of had the A's a little bit as a secondary team. I grew up a Mariners fan, very much an underdog type organization. And I know they're in the same division, and that, all that aside, it was a affinity for kind of generally doing a lot with less. I think that's a good way to put it. And guys going out and making a name for themselves, and maybe not the most spotlight coming up and turning into stars. Even guys who have played during when I've been up with the Matt Chapmans and the Matt Olsons, and you didn't hear a lot about those guys before they were in the big leagues, and they went and they made a splash, and we got platinum glovers and guys hitting 35 homers in that stadium. I love that. I've always rooted every time there is a big, I do enjoy the movie Rocky. Every time there's a big underdog story, I love big underdog stories. And I feel like that is, we don't need to beat around the bush. We're an underdog going in this year. And I after playing the guys and watching how they all played, we played you guys at the end of last year, and now I'm on the team. So that's weird to say. How do you say that? I don't know. And just I'll be honest, there was not a ton of names that I had heard before, and that took it to us. And it's one of those things where I'm like, there's a group of guys in this crew right here that's going to become the staple, the team that wins. And I think that I have a lot to offer in the experience side of things, and the having conversations about, how to carry yourself as a bullpen guy. There's not a lot of experience out there. And, but also just, I've been on very, very good teams. I've seen a lot of things that go right with those teams. And it's not always about how much everyone's being paid. It's actually almost never about how much everyone's being paid. And it's mostly about the way that everyone goes about their work, and you expect to win when you walk in every day. So I think that this team's primed and ready, and I want to be part of that.
Well, two guys that were on your team last year, good friends of this show, have known them for years. When I think about Mark Canha and Chris Bassett, who both loved being Oakland A's, obviously Mark Canha is from the Bay Area. Did you get a chance before you signed to talk to them and ask about what it's like to play here?
I actually talked to them quite a bit last year, just kind of in passing, because they had been there for so long. And I remember when Mark was Rule 5 my sophomore year, he was a year after me. And he got Rule 5, very much that situation, getting an opportunity in the big leagues, and then taking advantage of it, and being a really, really great, solid player. I thought when we signed Mark, I was like, he's going to be, if he has a good year, our team will have a good year, because he's one of those kind of transitional players, the 6-7 hitter, the guy that you don't like to face, 15 pitch at bats, things like that. So I was picking their brains, like, guys, really, you hear things around the league, the Coliseum is a unique place to play. And they were like, we had a blast. It was just, we were just ourselves. We could do whatever. Chris Bassett, I knew him from the fall league. I know his personality, and it just made sense that he loved it. Watching, even talking to Mania, who's a little bit more laid back, but he loved it. So like all these different personalities, all these guys, it's like there's you remove a lot of kind of noise, and you get to play like you're on a little bit. It had a Legion ball feel, and it did. And the way these guys interact and hung out with each other, best friends, and that's just joy, the joy of playing the game for me. And they had no negative words to say, and I think that kind of got me going. I even also talked to Clippard in 2019, and he's said a lot of the same things. He's like, you're gonna have a lot of opportunity to be yourself and go out and have a lot of fun. It's just a blast. So and the fans, I don't know why I've identified with the fans, but I just think the fact that there is a sign up in the stands for every single guy on the team, no matter how obscure you are, that's the type of stuff I love. It's so funny that Cotty is now my manager, but this is a funny story that I've told nobody, I don't think. I used to play Sammy Sosa High Heat Baseball 2000, okay, on PC.
Yeah.
You could edit everyone's stats and make them crazy. My two guys who were like that 6'7" Mark Canna type in the lineup, the two guys that I always do that. And this was pre-Red Sox winning the World Series, so I liked them as well. My grandpa grew up a Red Sox fan. And they were underdogs, curse and all that, right? So I play with those two teams. Mark Kotze would be the guy I would turn from my 6'7" hitter into my 3 guy that just carried the team, and then Trot Nixon for the Red Sox. So like they're just like I'm like, you guys are the real core of the game. You got your stars, but you're the real grinder in your team. And I love that Cotty's my manager now. So I can't wait to tell him, I'm like, dude, you were my guy. I would just boost you. You'd hit 78 homers a year, and you'd become a star, and you'd be my guy. But I just wanted you to be my guy. I don't know why.
And he's going to go, I really should have been that guy. Because that's how he feels about it. Yeah.
You should have figured out how to do it in real life.
That's what's so cool about you coming into our world, is that you understand it, right? You like the music growing up. You want to go to Stanford, all the kind of stuff that we first found out about you. It's like, a lot of players have to come here and they go, then they love it. The fact that you're already coming in and you're all in, really, there's already like a comfort feel that most players don't have when they first show up to a team.
Yeah. I hear that. It's every market's different. You got to prepare differently. After coming from New York, I went from Minnesota then to New York, right? So that was a different transition, something that I was expecting and knew, but there's a lot that comes along with those things. And I pride myself in kind of trying to have a clear understanding of what the vibe's like in a place and ask lots of questions like that. But I've spent a lot of time down there. I've even made my debut at the Oakland Coliseum. I got my first major league save in Oakland. I've pitched there on my birthday like 3 times, which is just random because I've never been in the division. So how does that light up? Just like, I don't know, a lot of things that seem too much to be a coincidence. And I don't know. I think that personality, it's almost like a team. It's a team that is my personality, out on the field. And that's just the walkout music. And it's funny, when we were there in September, Buck pulled me aside and he goes, "This place is massive, but I will say one thing." I go, "What?" He goes, "They got the best sound system in the major leagues." That one speaker, a massive wall. They're at Dodger Stadium. Dodger's the same thing. That's just blasting out of center.
It was built for the Raiders, the sound system. So it's built for the NFL.
It's incredible. And I cannot wait to hear "Welcome Home" by Coheed and Cambria blasting out of that when I run my 17 feet from the bullpen to the field.
Yeah, you're going to run a little bit. That's why one of the reasons people like pitching here. When you think about, and I could talk to you all day, by the way. You get the sense right away when you talk to certain players, like, yeah, you can see you're as Brad Pitt playing Billy Bean in Moneyball when they're throwing the names up there and they go, who? You go, sounds like an Oakland A already. Trevor May sounds like an Oakland A already. We love it. When you get ready for a season, I know a lot of relievers will tell you, just give me the ball. I just want the ball. Do you want to know your role? Is there a role that you're looking at when you head to Mesa, what are you thinking about? This is what I want for me in 2023.
I always kind of think of it more of a dynamic with my manager and my pitching coach. So, like for example, Minnesota under Anderson and then Johnson Anderson. His name's Wes. I think Wes Anderson, the director. I don't know why I do that. Wes Johnson, and then
close.
and then Jeremy Hefner in New York. They actually did work together for a year, but they very different styles. Wes and Rocco were definitely more like big out in the third inning, get out there, right? Hef was a little bit more wanting to give the inning kind of the window of innings, and you kind of shuffled in and out, and Buck liked that a little bit too. So but it was always as long as I have an understanding with my manager and my pitching coach what they expect, then I want to do that as good as I can. So my goal is really like get the biggest outs every single time of the game, wherever that is. I still believe finishing the game is the hardest thing to do in baseball. People disagree sometimes talking about leverage. I still think they're the highest leverage, especially if it's a 1-run or tie game, because there's just no time to mess up and fix it. So I love to do that. It's that when it gets super, super tight and a lot of pressure, I go somewhere that I like being. And so if that's what I'm called on to do and finish games, then I'm going to go out and finish games. I'm going to do a damn good job at it. But if that means, setting it up and handing it off, I think that, and taking having conversations with these other guys who are getting opportunities to do those things, saying, we pass the ball. That's what we do. 6th inning, you did it. Okay, now it's the 7th. I'm going to take care of it. Okay, it's the 8th. It's your turn. I think those are the best bullpens operate that way. And I've been in some dang good ones in the last 4 or 5 years, with a lot of guys coming into their own and turning into real back end guys. One guy just signed a 3-year, $33 million to go across the bay, and he's a dude that I watched do that. Taylor Rogers. He's part of a crew with me, and we just kind of like, hey, you close today, I'll close today. You close today, I'll close today, and it worked out for our teams, and it's worked out for our careers. So I hope that these young guys are willing to maybe listen to anything I say, and hopefully I can help some guys really turn into monsters, more monsters than they already have been.
Well, you got a good camera, you got a good microphone. I mean, you're like a dream come true.
Yeah, I've got a lot of experience doing this as well.
So, hey, great stuff. We truly appreciate it. Welcome to the Oakland Athletics, and we can't wait to see you in Mesa.
Can't wait to see you too. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Be well. Take care. Wow.
He was very good.
Wow. And I don't want to keep him too long, but I mean, he was a valedictorian. There'll be stuff that I say for when we see him in Mesa. He was like valedictorian of his high school. I mean, this guy's fascinating. And just how familiar he is. Like he said, not playing in division, and how much he knows about the A's. His dad was an A's fan. You can say a lot of that stuff, but you can tell like he knows, like he gets it, and he's done the research. And, I probably want to next time pry a little more. Why? Just don't tell me because you grew up listening to rappers and you want to go to that are from Oakland and you want to go to Stanford. There were a lot of teams after him. Why here? I think the opportunity is that, hey, listen, you stay healthy and you pitch, you're going to close games. You stay healthy, you pitch, you close games. It's a business. You sign here, or it gives you that ability, as we have at times also been, a great rehab spot. Rehab the image. He comes, throws the ball well here, gets some saves, shows velocity still there, health is still there, and next thing you know, that can springboard you into an even better position.
Yeah, and I'm reading some of the comments. A lot of our fans were very impressed with the interview.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was doing the Chris Rose rotation with Chris Rose, so he has a lot of podcasts and I guess talk show experience. So let's chalk him up on the list with Cole Irvin as some of our favorite people to get to. I don't know if anyone's going to surpass what Liam Hendriks has done for us.
And that,
yeah,
thoughts and prayers go out to Liam Hendriks, diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, cancer. And we love Liam. Liam is a friend. I mean, we have had Liam on the show so many times. You've had so many personal conversations with him, his wife. Love the guy to death. I've said it before. He is one of the only players that I've ever interviewed that said, I want to make the earth a better place before I leave it. I've never heard another player say that. And everything that they've done for humans, for animals, he is so genuine in his love for people. So this is something caught at the right time that they'll be able to take care of. But, Liam, our thoughts and prayers go out to him, because Liam is one of the best. People say it all the time. He's a better guy off the field than Liam Hendriks really is a beautiful human being.
Yeah, and that's very well said. And, when I first saw this, I texted you about it, and then I reached out to Liam for both of us and told him, hey, we're sending thoughts your way, good thoughts your way, and if anyone can beat this, it's him. I mean, that guy's a competitor, and I have a good feeling he'll get through this, and we'll see him back pitching. That's not the most important thing. The most important thing is beating this, but I know we'll see him back. And he got back to me within like 10 minutes. I mean, most guys will take days, because they're getting overwhelmed. He got back to me in like 10 minutes, telling me, thanks, mate. He called me mate.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, mate. So we're pulling for you, Liam, as always. And hopefully we'll see you in Oakland sometime this year, if not next year, but we know you'll get through this.
Yeah, it's tough, but yes, he's going to beat this. He'll play again. And yeah, you get that kind of news. It's just it's like what we've been dealing with in the NFL, this Hamlin kid and getting hit. And I don't know if you watched it live, but watching it live and having worked on the sidelines, I worked multiple games where there was fear of a spinal cord type deal where they strapped the player in, cart him off. Once I saw the ambulance go on, I went, oh. And then I'm on a text thread with a bunch of guys that worked on the sideline. Some are doctors, and they went, once the ambulance went on the field, you knew this is dire. It's things like this where all of a sudden, with what Liam's dealing with, it becomes bigger than the game, more important than the game. And our thoughts and prayers go out to Liam, and we'll try and we'll keep with the progress, because I know he'll be somebody that we'll talk with, and we'll try and update you on his progress. But can't wait to see him again and get him back on the field, and knowing what he's going to go through is not going to be easy. But love Liam Hendriks to death, and there's a lot of talk about whether he would be on the move this offseason. But obviously that's not going to be the case now. But Liam is definitely one of the best guys in Major League Baseball. So we can't wait to see him get back. One thing that I want to do before we get out of here is talk about players that to get excited about.
I say to pay off your tease about your athlete.
Yeah. So, I mean, guys that you want to get excited about. And I gave you two veterans to start the show with. I said, one thing to look at is, when we look at Seth Brown and we look at Cole Irvin, there are going to be guys that are going to be looked upon to be leaders, and then they're probably going to be trade chips. And that's good for them in their careers, right? This is a business. We have to understand. I always say, root for the names on the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey. It's a business. Things are going to happen. But wanted to look at certain players that excite me going forward, and just not chalk, just not give you the standard.
That's what that's how you preface it to me. No chalk. So
don't give me chalk. I mean, I Tyler Soderstrom. Oh, really?
I'm really excited.
Sody, you're interested in
I'm really
Sody?
excited for Shea Langoliers.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I mean, this Langoliers kid. No. The first guy that I thought about, and the ability for this guy and where he could be it's Jordan Diaz. To me, to organizations really tell you what they're thinking, not by what they say, what they do. And in the past, in recent past, we as an organization have slow played guys. It's not because of contracts. This has been said for years by David. It's been said by Billy. They don't, the whole free agency tracker thing, they know they're not getting a guy to free agency. They've got to play the whole dog and pony show with the new ballpark and all that kind of stuff. They've got to play along. But deep inside the walls of player development, they know they're not taking a guy to free agency. It's not happening.
It's true, yeah.
Not happening. Like Barry Zito getting to free agency, that was a long time ago. What year was that? 06?
06, yeah. That was 17 years ago.
17 years ago, folks. We're not taking a player to free agency. So that whole slow playing guy, the whole, he can't start his clock. I mean, if a guy can help, a guy can help. That's where I believe Jordan Diaz, at his age, how old was he last year? 22, 21?
21.
He was 21. The fact that they brought him up, he has nowhere to play. Not a great athlete, not a great infielder. He had never even played second base. I just remember that from going, wait a minute, we're starting him at second base. He never played second base. That just tells you how much they believe he can hit.
That's all he does. I mean, he hit 3 in the minors last year. He hit 326.
He can hit. Forget what their words say. Forget what the front office, forget what the coaching staff. You should be excited, and I'm excited by Jordan Diaz based on their actions, how they're treating him. He's a baby. They could slow play him, but you know what they said? There's nothing left for him to do in the minor leagues. He's already proven he can hit. Where's he going to play? I don't know. Where's he going to play? I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. They don't know. They don't care. He can hit. Got to DH him, second base, third base. I don't know. Let him sit in the stands. He can hit.
First base.
He can hit. We need guys that can hit. We need guys, barrel rate, as your guy, Sarris likes to say. He can flat out, as our good friend Shooty Babbitt says, he can handle the shillelagh. So the fact that they brought him up with no position, he can't run, doesn't throw well, they brought him up because he can hit. And is he 22 yet?
He will be, let me check, because he was 21 last year. He will be 22. He turned 22 this year in August. So yeah, he'll be 23 next August.
He turned
20. He turned 20. He turned 22 in August. So when he debuted, he was 21.
They brought up a 21-year-old with no defensive position. Does that not tell you everything you need to know?
Yeah, on here it says third, first, and second baseman.
He doesn't have a position. They don't care because he can hit. That should excite you. The next guy. This is. Once again, not gonna. Well, first of all, Ruiz coming over in the trade from Milwaukee. That's where Ruiz. I made sure I called somebody with the Padres who I know. And I think the guy that I called is a pretty good source. You might have heard of him. He's a pretty good eye of talent.
AJ Preller.
Not AJ Preller, not the general manager. I called their manager. You've heard of it. You've heard his name.
What's his name? Not Bruce Bochy. Bob Melvin.
Bob Melvin. I reached out to Melvin. I said, what's up with this kid? Bob Melvin has never seen him. But Bob Melvin said inside their walls, everybody absolutely loved him. And the Padres, who remember, the Padres had the #1 farm system. Wasn't that long ago. They were rated #1, and this kid was in it. They did not want to get rid of him. But to get a guy like Josh Hader, who is essentially, if you look at the numbers, the best strikeout artist in the history of baseball as a reliever. Fact. They had to give up something for him. They gave up this Ruiz kid. And Melvin said everybody in their front office thinks he's going to be a really good player, if not, could be a star-type player.
In 2 levels, we'll give you the minor leagues. In double and triple A last year for the Padres and Milwaukee, or Milwaukee and the Padres. He hit 332. He hit 16 home runs. He drove in 65 runs. That's great. The K to walk ratio is pretty close, 94 to 66, not bad. He stole 85 bases. He was caught 14, but he stole 85 bases.
85 65 bases, and you now can only throw over 3 times, and then it's a balk. This kid, look at it. I'm just saying, Melvin believes everything that he's heard inside the Padres was this kid's going to be good. And if you're telling me at his age and center field, if we go to spring training and he's playing well and he's hitting and he's running the bases, I don't want to hear about Pache. I don't want to hear about Ramon Laureano. I'm like, this kid's in center field, because this might be that player that you look at and you go, hey, we're winning games. Hey, this team's got confidence. This team, we're not going to go out and beat the Astros and win the division. Not going to go out and get the wild card. But to go out and be competitive and be excited to go to the ballpark every day, to start turning it around like the A's usually do pretty quick, this kid might be a big part of it.
Yeah, and when you asked me about players to be excited about, he was one of the guys I listed as well, mainly because of the stolen bases and how much we know that's going to hopefully be back in the game this year with the throwovers and just the way the game's going to be played. I think that he could be the starting center fielder on opening day. I mean, that's what we've read. That's what we think is going to happen, because Christian Pache is out of options. And if he doesn't have a good spring, David Force, was it with us or he was with the media? I think it's when he talked to the media, he said that, this is a very interesting spring training for Christian Pache. The guy didn't hit last year. Let's be real. I mean, he did not give competitive at bats. We've talked about it ad nauseum about how he wasn't competing when he was at bat. Yeah. You'll hear a lot of how hard he hit the ball. That's great, but they were all outs. It's not like he was hitting the ball hard and spraying the ball over the field like some other guys do, like a Rafael Devers does with the Red Sox. But I think Ruiz could be a guy that could play center field. And Eno mentioned it. They have a very good athletic defensive outfield. If it's him, maybe Pache and Ramon Laureano, or Ramon Laureano, Ruiz, and Seth Brown, and you have Diaz playing first.
Okay, well, now you're getting ahead of yourself, because Capel,
also a good hitter,
is somebody we're going to want to see hit. And he's not one of my guys, but Connor Capel is somebody who can swing it, who needs an opportunity. He kind of reminds me of Mark Canha.
Oh, yeah. That's
he kind of reminds me of Marcus Semien. They were guys that, it didn't work out. Obviously, Canha was Rule 5. Semien it wasn't. Where's he going to play in Chicago? They need a place to play. Connor Capel was in St. Louis. Where does he play? Capel has ability. We saw it. Reminds me body-wise of Brian Giles. It's a flat wing through the zone, very level.
You're getting me excited.
Makes a lot of contact. I want to see Connor Capel, but I'm going to give you the wild card for me. And we got to see a little bit of him. It was only, I looked at it, it was only, how many at-bats? We got Cody Thomas gave us last year. Got to go to the game logs here. I had his minor league stuff on him. How many games? He barely got any time.
Let me double check. I'll pull him up. Cody Thomas had at bats last year. He had only 30 at bats.
Only 30 at bats.
But he had 267.
So,
and he's
28. Why am I excited about this guy? As he's kind of my wild card.
Because he played quarterback at Oklahoma?
Because he's an elite athlete. He's got athleticism you can't teach. He is, and I heard Brad Lidge talking about this, a former closer on MLB radio earlier today. He was talking about a guy he played with in AAA and said, yeah, he was a football guy too. And the problem when you're a football guy, you're not able during these very pivotal years of your growth as a player, just not physically, more mentally, you're not able to be all in. And I think we all know as human beings, when we're not all in on something, and Deion Sanders recently, Coach Prime, as you know him in Colorado, with Shannon Sharp did an interview, and he asked about all the sports he played because he's one of the greatest athletes to have ever lived, Deion Sanders. Here's a guy that NFL, Major League Baseball, could have been a world-class sprinter in track, but he did track at Florida State. He said, out of all the things that I did, baseball is by far the hardest. So when you're not all in, it's tough to get good. It's tough to really, in those formative years of your growth mentally as a player, you don't get it. And now, even though he's what? Would you say he's 28?
Yeah.
Perfect. You have a kid. Give me a size.
Got to pull it back up again and close his page. He is 6'4", 211, according to Baseball Reference.
He's 6'4", 211. You're talking about an elite athlete. You don't sign up at the University of Oklahoma under Lincoln Riley or even the great Bob Stoops before him unless you are a supreme athlete. They don't get pocket passers. They get the best. Oh, you might have heard of him, the guy we drafted before, Kyler Murray. They get the best guys who have the ability to run and throw.
Baker Mayfield.
They get the best guys in the country. This guy is an elite athlete. Size, speed, strength, arm. He can do it all. He just is now finally saying, I'm all in. Now, I know he quit football, went to baseball. I've been telling you, but there's certain growth years he was a little bit behind. I'm really curious to see if this kid fully in and is given the opportunity and he seizes the moment. He's not a kid. He's 28 years old. That it clicks. And if it clicks, what can he be? His growth is stunted because of football. I mean, he's never, like, give me his minor league numbers. What's the most games he's played in a minor league season?
He played 130 in 2019 in Double-A with the Dodgers.
That's it.
And then in 2021, he played in 59 games in Vegas. And then last year, he played in 10 games in Vegas and 6 in rookie ball and 10 with the A's. He was hurt last year, right?
So literally, he has only had 3 seasons in minor league baseball where he's at least played 120 games.
Yeah, in his pro career, we're not counting college, and just the minors and majors over, I guess you could say, it would be like 7 seasons or so. He's had about 522 games.
He only played 54 games in college.
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's nothing in a college career. 54 games?
That's many games they play in a season.
More, it's less. Hell, we played way more than that.
Yeah, it's true. They do play more.
But it just goes to show the whole football, then injury, he's never been able. Well, now he might be getting his chance. And he came up last year. Once again, the actions show you. The A's said, all right, let's give it a look. He's got gifts that you can't teach. He is an elite athlete, big and can run with a rocket arm and power. He's everything that you look for. So now, can he this spring impress? And if he can impress, he's a guy that I'm going to be like, I want to watch play. Connor Capel, I want to watch play. Because if you want to be straight 100, as the kids like to say.
100, okay. We're keeping it real here.
As I say that kind of stuff to my kids all the time, they go, Dad, they're not saying that.
Yeah, we're kind of outdated now.
So if you want to keep it straight 100, when you test positive for performance enhancing drugs and especially anabolic steroids, we don't know who you are anymore. And unfortunately, you put yourself in that position, and that's just real. Ramon Laureano, we don't know who he is. We thought we knew who he was. And I know he's a tough guy. I know he's a grinder. But as a true player, I don't know who Ramon Laureano is anymore. When you basically say, I need to put these drugs into my body to compete, you essentially said you can't do it on your own. That's what you say. Your risk, there's a risk. Now, could there be a different philosophy to that before there was testing, where you already knew you were a good player, but now I want to be a super player? Okay, whatever. But now that there's testing, there's risk involved. There always was health risk involved. Now there's career risk. You're saying, I need this to perform at this level. So with you not on it, do we know who you are? Do we know who you are as a player? We thought we did. We don't know. And Ramon did not have a good year last year. He didn't. So
211 batting average.
Yeah. I mean, you're clean. You're not healthy. You didn't stay healthy, and you hit 211. And you had an OPS of 663. An OPS plus of under 100. So you were below average. Clean. In a prove-it year, really, for you. Now, tough. Obviously, you're away. Can't play with the team. There was a suspension. But, I mean, that'll be an interesting story also in spring training. What do you do? There were rumors last year that the Marlins were interested in him. I mean, he's clearly not going to be your future. And now you're it's murky. It's a murky story. Who is Ramon Laureano? I don't know. Christian Pache, I remember doing it in the postgame show last year. We're sitting there going, man, the guy's hitting like a $108 in June. 108. Well, he just needs to work through it. Oh, yeah. Okay. That just needs to work through it. Needs to get, all the excuse train. He just needs to get at bats. He just needs to get better. They're working on him with this and they're working on him with that. Oh, he's got patience and just always, he literally was swinging at the first pitch just trying to make contact because he didn't want to strike out.
But he hits the ball hard.
Oh, all the excuses. They ran out. That excuse train finally came to a stop, and everybody went, he can't compete at this level. As of right now, Christian Pache has not proven he can hit at this level, that he can be competitive at this level. If he comes out and struggles in spring, you said it, he's out of options. He's out of options. What are you going to do? You're just going to keep him on the roster? Obviously it's the Matt Olson trade. But the A's are confident in who they are. And if they think a guy, it's time for him to go, they're not going to keep him around just for PR. That's not going to happen. This is a big spring training for Christian Pache.
He played 17 games in the Dominican League. I think it's still going on. I'm not entirely sure. He played in 17 games. He had 55 at bats. What do you think his slash line is? Just give me his batting average.
Why would you do that to me? I'm probably going to say it's like 220 something.
Close, 218. He has 0 home runs and 5 runs driven in. Nope. Struck out 10 times, walked 7. So
you got to hit, man. You got to hit. And Christian Pache, still young, but in this game of he's still young, well, you've got an opportunity as young. And if you haven't hit, how old is he?
He'll be 25. Actually, he just turned 24. So he'll be 25 in November of this year.
He's young, but he's hitting. He hit a $166.
He had a 459. His OPS plus, now remember, hundreds league average, 34.
Yeah, it was terrible.
The Baseball Reference does the projections. I never really paid attention to it, but I'll just give you what they say for Pache. They say he'll have around 309 at bats, hit 6 home runs, drive in 29, hit 197.
That doesn't cut it. That doesn't. You don't get better as an organization doing that. Sometimes you just have to realize, he's a great athlete. He doesn't recognize pitches. That's a nice way to say it. He just doesn't see it.
Yeah.
He's not competitive. There's so many swings and misses. He's an easy out. And it's just like at some point, you're like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So this spring training, now, hopefully he comes in and he hits, and then we got some competition. Competition is a great thing. You want competition. Let's have a bunch of outfielders out there competing for very few spots. Let's see what Ruiz and Capel and Thomas and Seth Brown and Pache and Ramon Laureano. Let's have a bunch of guys out there, and let's see who is able to compete. Because that's how you get better. You want that early competition.
Baseball Reference says Esteury Ruiz will hit 242 and still only 4 bases. I think he's gonna have a little more than 4. He had 85 in between Double and AAA last year. I think he's gonna, they're saying he's only gonna attempt 6 stolen bases. Are you kidding me? So don't read too much into the Baseball Reference projections, but there's one guy, because we both were talking. You asked me this yesterday. There's one guy you didn't mention that I put on my list. I'm not going to go AJ Puck because I can throw him out there every year because we don't know if he's going to be a starter or reliever. Did a very nice job as a reliever last year. I think it's Kevin Smith. 11 home runs last year in AAA in Vegas. The last month of
they all came in 1 month.
Yeah, they all came. Hey, but he's building off of something. So let's see what he does this year. I think Kevin Smith. But where's he going to play? You got Jordan Diaz. You signed Jace Peterson, Aletmas Diaz.
Geloff's there.
Geloff's. Yeah, you got I know I'm forgetting someone that's playing on the team. That's Nick Allen. So where's he going to play?
Tony Kemp.
Where's that's the only question for Kevin Smith. He's the third baseman. Can play shortstop, but you have those positions kind of filled right now.
Well, competition. Like Kevin Smith can play third and can play shortstop. Can he win the third base job?
Because you're running out of people. Don't want to say it this way, but you're running out of people you're looking forward to watching from that Matt Chapman trade, because Zach Logue's now a Detroit Tiger, I think, or he was DFA'd by Detroit already, but so he's gone. So you got him and Gunnar Hoagland left, and that's it, right? Am I forgetting anyone? Oh, Kirby Snead, but he didn't have a very good year last year either.
Yeah, the Langoliers has got a, we'll see. And you're still waiting for the young guys to emerge from the Bassett trade from the Mets. Adam Oller hasn't really.
Yeah, and JT Ginn was hurt. So,
but you knew he was hurt coming in, so you understood that. So but you know what? All these names, I know we're throwing a lot of names out there, but what it is, it's competition. It's like you come to Oakland knowing that you have an opportunity. To get to the big league level. You don't have a ton of guys with long-term contracts that are blocking you, and you've got no shot. You've got a ton of guys that are going to have opportunity. We used 64 players last year. 64. You come here, have a good spring. It's a competition. So what should interest you? If you're a baseball fan, the competitions that are going to be going on. This is not, hey, let's just go get in shape and get ready for the season. Everybody who is stepping out onto the field has something to prove from day one. I don't think that's a stretch I don't think that's a stretch to say.
No, I agree with you.
That is, it is everybody, the minute you show up, you're in competition. Everybody. Everybody thinks Nick Allen's been handled it. If Nick Allen goes out and really, really struggles, Nick Allen has a lot to prove. Everybody has something to prove. Everybody. I think on the pitching side, the one guy that I would throw in there, because my 3 were Diaz, Thomas. Who was my third? Ruiz.
Ruiz, yeah.
From the pitching standpoint, Ken Waldichuk is the guy that really interests me.
Happy belated birthday. His birthday was yesterday.
He's got stuff. He's got upside. And if you've forgotten, just go back to that last game he pitched against Shohei Ohtani. Everybody's talking about Ohtani this, Ohtani that. And that last game is the last game of the season, right?
Yeah, the Stephen Vogt home run.
He outpitched Shohei Ohtani. That's just a moment. It's a moment in your career. I was up, for Shohei Ohtani, it's the end of the year, but he's still trying to show everybody, I should be the Cy Young Award winner. I should be the MVP. I should, he's still trying to, and everything about Ohtani. And Ken Waldichuk went out there and threw a gem. So when I think about, okay, pitchers, young guys, yeah, I like JP Sears. To me is a tough guy. I'm interested. We're gonna have a lot of lefties, but if there's the one guy that I go, wow, Scott Emerson, you get him right fundamentally, and he just grows as a pro, where you learn to do it every 5 days, you learn to manage it, you learn how to get better in between that. One of the big keys for a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball is your routine. And how do you work on things? And so many times we heard this last year from Cole Irvin about his side sessions. I worked on this, and this helped me for the start. You learn how to do it. You learn how to be a pro, how to take the ball every 5 days, how to get better in between starts, refine your stuff, work on your weaknesses, and become a tough guy to beat. I think Ken Waldichuk can be that guy. Yankees were high on him. They had no room. Brian Cashman doing Bean and Forrest a solid. And we really saw it in that last start where you don't think Ken Waldichuk was fired up to be pitching against Shohei Ohtani? I bet he was. And I guarantee you, down at spring training, that will be something we ask him about. Didn't get to talk to him. Haven't seen him since. What was that start like? What did that start mean to you? Young pitchers gear up to go against guys who are the best in the game.
People forget he went 7 scoreless innings, walked 1, struck out 4, and he threw exactly 100 pitches.
You said people forget. You know who didn't forget?
You.
Me. That sticks with me. Shohei Ohtani, Angels, and you went out, outpitched him, and you shoved.
He pitched well the game before, too, against Seattle. He went 5 innings, allowed 1 run, and struck out 8.
So if you want to get excited about somebody on the mound, I'm going to go with Ken Waldichuk as a guy that, knock on wood, stays healthy. He's a guy that you start thinking about it. I know I'm going to get good outings from Cole Irvin. I got to think this finger thing's going to be fine. Blackburn's going to be fine.
Those are like the only 2 guys you know of that are going to be like, you pencil them in the rotation right now. Cap has an injury.
No. I cannot count on James Caprillion.
You got Cap with an injury. You have JP Sears, Waldichuk, Kyle Mahler, who the A's got in the Sean Murphy trade. Who else are we forgetting? That Adrian Martinez, Adam Aller,
AJ
Puck potentially if they want to try him out as a starter. There's a lot of options that they could use for fill out the last 3 in the rotation. I don't think they'll go 6-man rotation, but if the Cap's not able to start the year, you got to find 3 guys behind Irvin and Blackburn to be in your rotation.
I don't think the young guys are going to, these young guys, you mentioned Genn earlier. He's, obviously a hurt guy.
Cusick, like those guys, yeah.
But
they're far away. Hogan Harris could be a guy that
you got to have a rotation with 4 left-handers in it. Whatever. Who cares? As Eno Sarris said, our national baseball columnist, let's see stuff that's unorthodox this year. Let's see baseball played a little bit differently and see how some teams do. And the A's could be one of those teams. But I do know this. It's Ken Waldichuk is the guy for me that I go, let's just see how he can grow. And there could be growing pains. Could be times where it's a struggle. But he's got upside. And he could be a guy that you start looking at going, well, pitcher of the future, guy that's kind of leading this rotation. It's old Ken Waldichuk out of St. Mary's.
Sorry about that. Let him know our computer issue. Disk is full. So I have to pull the audio source from somewhere else. Big deal.
You can't wait till after the show to do that?
I'm just letting Shout know now.
You just can't wait till after the show.
I looked and saw that it said that it stopped recording.
So are we on Wednesday? Because we're done here.
Because we're flying out at 11 something.
When are we on?
Thursday and Friday we'll be on.
Okay, Thursday and Friday.
Both at 1 o'clock.
Check back with us, A's Cast, and then also on Twitter and YouTube. We'll be back from fantasy camp. I'm excited. I've heard so many good things about what fantasy camp is all about, and the excitement that everybody has that it's like you're a kid again. To put on that big league uniform. A lot of us haven't played since we were young men, and females are playing also. And I've always said I think it's like the greatest Christmas gift. Like all of a sudden you open up a present. Am I getting a sweatshirt? What am I getting? And oh my God, I'm going to fantasy camp. So we're gonna go down there with our cameras and get video and show you how cool it is, and all the ex-big leaguers who are your coaches and instructors. It's going to be a blast. I've always wanted to go down, and we are going to be leaving on Wednesday. We'll get up to Oakland, fly out to Arizona, and we'll get to see what everybody has said. It's like a dream trip.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Sure.
Will someone take Dallas Braden deep?
No. I'll put money on it right now. Dallas Braden. No one goes deep on Dallas Braden. I don't want to put any money on it because as our old friend Bernie Kosar got thrown off the Browns pregame show because he made a bet. But if I had to bet, I say no. I wonder, does Dallas actually start to throw and get ready? Because
he's probably been throwing all month. And
because if you don't, man, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
It's a good question to ask him.
Oh, if you haven't, when's the last time you've thrown a baseball?
Me?
Yeah.
When's
the last time?
Last year, because I play catch with my wife's little cousin because he plays baseball. Yeah, so about a year ago.
The last time I played catch was probably when I was throwing out the first pitch, which was years ago.
Yeah, we're going way back.
We're going way back.
That's like 7, 8 years, 9 years ago, 10.
When do we play catch?
It's like when we get done here, we go in your backyard and play catch.
Yeah, and we've never been to fantasy camp. We haven't had to get ready. So we're going to see when we go down there what it's like, and we're going to report back. It's going to be awesome. While we're in Arizona, will Carlos Correa have a team? Because now supposedly the Twins are back in this thing.
My original prediction could come true.
The Twins are back in this thing.
No. I still don't think it'll be resolved.
Does it ever get resolved?
Yes. It'll probably be like the Manny Machado, Bryce Harper will sign you right for spring training.
Can you imagine? You've had 2 $300 million contracts taken from you. Your dream is, I wonder if it's baseball karma.
Yeah, you texted me the other day. I thought that was pretty interesting.
A lot of karma, man. Think about Bonds and Clemens and those guys. Yeah, the actual karma for those guys, and even including A-Rod, is that they would give it all up to be able to have that plaque in Cooperstown. It's the one thing, like, they can act like it doesn't bother them. They can act like it's not a big deal. They can say whatever that they still got millions of dollars. Their families, the generational wealth is still there. People still kiss their butts, but they're not baseball Hall of Famers. The one thing that they thought that they had when they were racking up all those milestones, and everybody just kept telling them, future Hall of Famer Barry Bonds, future Hall of Famer Sammy Sosa, future Hall of Famer Rafael Palmeiro, future Hall of Famer Barry Bonds, all that future Hall of Fame. So Alex Rodriguez, near future nothing. You've got not one of those guys. They're not even like outside looking in. They're not even in the same town. They're so far from getting into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And that's something that you're immortalized. You're immortalized for forever. Whatever forever is, we don't know what forever is. But guys that pass away, your plaque sits there. And people by the thousands go every year to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and they see your plaque. You live forever. As John Madden once said, he thinks the bust at the Pro Football Hall of Fame talk to each other at night.
Oh, Madden was on the other day again too. It's a good documentary.
It's so significant because you live forever in this Hall of Fame. Well, if you're not in the Hall of Fame, you don't live forever in that Hall of Fame. And that's something that these guys, they've all played it in different ways, but whether you're Bonds, you're Clemens, you're Sosa, you're Palmeiro, I mean, Mark McGwire finally came clean so we could get back in the game, but it didn't lead to him getting into the Hall of Fame, and he should be. All these guys should be in the Hall of Fame, but they're not. It's baseball karma, right? Same thing, baseball karma for, is it baseball karma for Correa? Got a ring. He's got money already. He's fine with money, but that grand prize that obviously he's motivated by money, as you've seen in interviews, Carlos Correa is motivated by money. And he had it right at his fingertips with the Giants, then right at his fingertips with the Mets. Gone.
Breaking news on the way out. Not big enough where we need to play the sounder, but our good friend Brett Phillips is now a Los Angeles Angel.
No, well, he's in division.
Yeah.
That's good, our buddy. God, he would have been a great A.
Maverick Phillips. Oh, yeah. I said that when they DFA'd him last year, when the Rays DFA'd him.
Well, you know what? We're going to see him at spring training and just be like, I can't tell you how happy we have you in division. He's one of the best interviews. He's such a character. If you listen to this program, watch this program, when the Rays are in town, we've always had him on. Super dude. That is, you know what? That is breaking news. That's happy news in our first show of 2023. Our good friend is now a Halo.
Yeah, we have to ask him about Macho Man more, and if he follows the Ric Flair thing on Instagram.
Rally Monkey happy? He's got to be happy. He's got a new friend down there in Anaheim.
Good for the Angels. Are going to have a lot of content for the broadcast for sure.
I was just in Anaheim. It never rains at Disneyland except the 2 days I was there.
Never rains in California except for the last 2 weeks.
I mean, pouring at Disneyland, the disappointment, and all these little kids in these rain ponchos. The rain ponchos were sold out. Disney's not used to having that. They were sold out. Couldn't even get rain. I felt bad for people. I felt bad. Raining at Disneyland. For me, I'll get over it as an adult, having been so many different times. But for these kids, their first time going, and it's pouring rain. So the princesses aren't, the characters aren't out. No one's out. It's pouring rain. Now for my kids, who are now 17, it was suck it up. The lines are shorter. Let's go.
Yeah, I was in San Diego for New Year's. It didn't rain until after we ended our New Year's party, and then walked back to our hotel. It started pouring, and the wind was like 30 miles an hour. That's the most we got. Then we came home and it rained the whole time, so it's been great.
And then flooding all over the Bay Area. When's the next storm? What is this? The boom cycle, bomb cycle? What is this?
Something like that. A cyclone? I don't know. There was some name for it. I saw the stream right down the street from your house. Is getting up there in height, and it's rushing. I mean, it's not like it's a whitewater rapids, but it's moving.
All right, our boss is on. We got to clean everything up. Our boss is on the way.
Yeah, I saw be here shortly. So
DA will be here. All righty, thank you for listening to A's Cast Live. Remember, we are back. We won't be here Wednesday, but check in on Thursday and Friday from Arizona Fantasy Camp. Trevor May, new A, gonna love him, right? That interview was fantastic, and we got to thank our national baseball columnist, Eno Sarris, brought to us by Fieldwork Brewing. Thank you for listening to A's Cast Live. We'll see everybody on Thursday from the Valley of the Sun.
The 2022 MLB winter meetings from San Diego are now in the